Good morning, everyone. I call this meeting to order at 9:10 a.m. and I will start off with the land acknowledgement. Associated Students recognizes and acknowledges the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory of the Fernandino Tautaviam Band and Mission Indians that is now occupied by our campus of California State University, Northridge. Honors their elders, past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of the Fernandino Tautaviam Band and Mission Indians. Associated Students recognizes the tribe is still here, and we are committed to lifting up their stories, culture, and community. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you are able. I will now turn over to our Attorney General for the roll call.
Thank you. Vice President Anderson, Senator Bob Negri, Senator Chavez, Senator Doe, Senator Dunn, Senator Kaddish, Senator Iman Khan, Senator Awais Khan, Senator Mezabin, Senator Radionov, Senator Sarkeesian, Senator Saravia, Senator Scher, Senator Tybee, Senator Toledo Carranza, Senator Tran, Senator Olgun. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Golden. I will now, excuse me, don't want to lose my voice today. I will now go ahead and move on to the approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Is there a motion? Senator Saravia.
I move to approve the agenda for February 26, 2024.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Tybee, thank you. Is there any discussion? Yes. Vice President Anderson.
I move to amend the agenda to strike through the CSUN Alumni Association presentation from Marco.
Alrighty, is there a second? Senator Saravia, thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, see none. All those in favor of approving the amendment, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great, the motion passes. Alrighty, is there any further discussion on the amended motion? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great, the motion passes. Alrighty, moving on to approval of the minutes from last meeting. Is there a motion? Senator Saravia.
I move to approve the minutes from last week's meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Tran, thank you. Is there any discussion? Are there any objections? All right, the motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to special presentations. We do have one for CSUN Giving Day, and Chelsea is here with us this morning. So welcome, Chelsea. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me this morning. My name is Chelsea Weisenbaker. I'm the Director of Annual Giving and Stewardship here at CSUN in the Division of University Advancement. And I'm here to discuss Giving Day once again. We are 1 week away from Giving Day. It's coming, 2 weeks away. It's coming up on March 6th and 7th. And I know that I've presented previously to this group before about Giving Day a couple of months ago, but now that we're a couple of weeks away, I wanted to share a little bit more about how we'll be promoting associated students and particularly student clubs during Giving Day. So we have a very special announcement to make. President Beck, through the Brighter Future Fund, will be hosting a donation challenge for participating student clubs and organizations. Particularly for those who have opted in to be promoted on Giving Day. We are running a challenge on March 6th and 7th. So the student clubs who have a presence on the Giving Day website, this is both our associated student sports clubs and then other clubs that have opted in, can compete to win 3 monetary prizes, a donation to their club account. For the clubs that raise the most number of donors, first place will receive $2,500 from the Brighter Future Fund to their club account. Second place will receive $1,500 and third place will receive $500. And what we're asking our clubs and orgs to do, those who are participating, is to utilize the website that we have up right here. This is our Giving Day website, givingday.csun.edu. And this page, it's our student involvement page, has 2 links on it. You'll see one for Associated Student Sports Clubs and then student clubs in Greek life. All of the participating clubs are in one of those links. On Giving Day on March 6th and 7th, those links will be live. They'll have donate buttons on those pages. And clubs can share those pages with their networks, friends, families, ask them to make a donation. It can be a $5 gift, it can be $50, it doesn't matter what amount. The 3 clubs that have the highest number of donors will receive the funds from the Brighter Future Fund transferred into their club account after Giving Day. We'll have a leaderboard that will be keeping track in real time. The tally of the clubs. So you'll be able to check throughout Giving Day and see which clubs are in the lead. The more you share this page and the more that you ask your networks to give, obviously, the greater chance you have of winning this prize through the Brighter Future Fund. We are also sharing our Giving Day page on a broad scale to our alumni network. So we will be sharing throughout Giving Day in a series of emails and social media through the CSUN main channels to our alumni base of about 200,000 alumni. There's also communications that are going out to faculty and staff as well. So there's a pretty good opportunity here for associated student clubs to raise some money for their efforts and stay in the running for the Brighter Future Challenge. If you would like to, you are more than welcome to sign up as a Giving Day ambassador. There's a link at the top of the Giving Day website. An ambassador is somebody who can volunteer to share about Giving Day with your networks. We have a lot of great resources, tools, materials, and a sharing toolkit that's available on that website. That comes with templates for texts and emails that can help you spread the word about your club or organization on Giving Day. There's one last link right there on that page that you also see for Associated Students programs. That page contains the different programs like the Children's Center and Camp Matador, other areas within AS that we're fundraising for on Giving Day. So this is a great page to be sharing with your network when we are live on Giving Day on March 6th and 7th. Are there any questions that I can answer while I'm here?
Will there be any physical things happening on campus for Giving Day? Like maybe any tabling or things like that?
Yeah, great question. So we have been hosting tables at the farmers market. We will have one right before Giving Day on March 5th. That actually is going to be a special table where folks can make an early donation to a student club or organization. So we'll be out in Matador Square. That table will also be collecting thank you notes to donors for Giving Day. So if you'd like to stop by, you can write a thank you note to a donor. You can make a donation to a student club, an early gift, and you can win a piece of swag as well. So we'll be doing that the day before Giving Day. And then there will also be a presence at the faculty and staff gratitude event at the food pantry table. So folks can make a donation there as well. Great. Thank you so much.
I did just want to say, sorry. If you do need any help tabling, if you need any like student assistance, you're welcome to let us know and we could figure that out for you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and the website looks great. So exciting for this upcoming Giving Day. And yeah, hoping our clubs do raise tons of money. Obviously donate to AS, in case you didn't realize that already, but yeah. Thank you, Chelsea. Alrighty, since Marco is not here, we strike that off the agenda. We'll go ahead and move to open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the associate students regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. Who's that again? James is starting to look like James again, I feel like.
So I didn't get to explain what happened last week because there was all the presidents here. But it was my son's birthday party, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. We did like a Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby themed event. So I shaved it to like a full goatee and like a handlebar mustache. It did not look good. So all that had to go before Monday and all the presidents were here. So that's why it's going to take some time, but it'll all come back to what it normally is. So you can stalk my Instagram. It's on there. So, all right. Good morning, everyone. I'm here for your weekly event updates. So events that we have going on this week. So we have 2 events that are going on this week. The farmers market will be going on. This week's theme is our Black History Celebration event. So we're partnered with the Black House for this event. We're really looking forward to it. We're gonna have some awesome activities and some really cool things going on in the square for that day. So that'll be 10 to 3 tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And then on Thursday, we have a new event that we will be piloting out and to see how it goes. So it'll be our first Thursday thrift event. So this is a collaboration with a few different campus entities and organizations and clubs about teaching people how to thrift their clothes and recycle them, trading them, things like that. So there'll be an opportunity for people to bring clothes, to trade in, to donate, as well as to kind of take things back home with them as well. So Thursday Thrift will be this Thursday from 10 to 2 p.m. over on Baramian Lawn. So if any of you have anything that you are looking to donate or you're hoping to swap for something else, feel free to come on by and check out the event. Feel free to bring whatever you all would like. And that is it for this week. So thank you all.
Thank you, James. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Yes, Senator Khan. Granted, thank you. Anyone else? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll move on to reports, starting with mine. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you all avoided the traffic or road closures today, whatever was going on out there. Alrighty, so my report, I'm going to keep it kind of brief. First of all, I wanted to just give a huge shout out to Kevin and Denise, and Patrick, Madeline, Ariana and Daniel and Tim, just everyone in the audience for helping us with President's Day on that Monday. It was a really, really awesome event. It was great to connect with our past leaders, and it was really awesome. A lot of them came down that Monday. Hopefully all of you got some kind of cool networking opportunities and just kind of got to hear what different kind of initiatives they put on. I thought it was really cool how when they all, showed up to the podium, they all really gave like really good advice, talked a little bit about what they did, but mainly advice. So that was really cool, and really, really awesome to hear from them. I know something that I took to heart for sure. I was like, wow, just given it's my senior year. So that was amazing. Last week, I also was gone for a couple of days in Sacramento for Advocacy Day. Essentially, every CSU campus will send a representative or two up to the state capitol to lobby and kind of advocate for certain things that the CSU system is really, really in need of. So this past Advocacy Day, it was for the 5-year compact that the governor signed, where for 5 years, we're going to get 5% increased funding every year from the state. Obviously, because of the huge budget deficit and the horrible situation we're in California, we potentially are not going to receive that funding for next year. We will receive it, but the following year. So we'll have like a gap of funding. And so obviously we just advocated explaining how it's really, really crucial that we get this funding because from the statistics, I like have these ingrained in my head from saying them all the time. But regardless, if we get the money, CSUN's going to be in an $8 million deficit. If we don't get the money, we're going to be in a $28 million deficit. So the campus is definitely going to hurt a little regardless if we get it or not. But obviously, hopefully if we get it, we're not going to hurt as much is the biggest thing. So hopefully our lobbying efforts did work. And then the other thing was just talking about, we have obviously Sierra Hall is looking a little old these days. So talking about just hopefully getting money to be able to update some of our buildings across the CSU system. Because every year they pick a building to remodel or redo. And Sierra Hall is number 9 on that list. And we've been on the list for like 20 years, apparently. So it's been a long time coming. So hopefully they'll be able to sign the bill that essentially would give the CSU system $2 billion to be able to kind of divvy out into along the other CSU campuses to, allow campuses to be able to remodel certain old buildings. For example, like for us, it'd be Sierra Hall. So that's that. If you have any questions on that, let me know. I'd love to talk more about it and give you all more insight into what it looks like. It's kind of a little preview of chess. I also attended the Cozen O'Connor meeting on Thursday. This was a pretty brief meeting. We're just going over the communication plan and the new OEC website, or the Office of Equity and Compliance website. So essentially what's going on now is that they're just going to lots of different stakeholder groups like faculty and staff and AS, and just different groups on campus to get feedback on the Title IX communication plan and the website. So they will be visiting cabinet on Wednesday to go over that and get feedback on, our thoughts about it. That's really exciting. On Friday, Josie and I were we met with Patrick, and then we also will be emceeing the AI Jam, which is really, really exciting. Hopefully, you don't even have to be like a techie, let me tell you. There is the AI Jam where essentially you kind of pick a problem on campus. It doesn't have to be like a campus-wide problem. It can just be like even within your college, within your major, to solve using AI resources. So there's obviously more information on all the stipulations and everything, but that's a really, really cool opportunity. And the first place group gets like $1,500 and a job for a semester at the IT department. So that's really, really cool. Hopefully spread that word out to your constituents. And yeah, that's about it for me. One more thing. We had student trustee interviews. If you guys don't know, obviously the CSU has the board of trustees, which are above pretty much all the campus presidents, and there are 2 students that sit on that board. So we had interviews all day. I was on Zoom from like 7:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon on Saturday, going through all these interviews and deliberations and everything. So really, really awesome process. And there are some great candidates that we picked. So hopefully that will go through. That goes through the governor's office, and that's kind of Gavin's decision at that point. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know. But also just stay safe. A lot of us got sick from Sacramento. So yes, just wipe your desk and stay safe. Are there any questions? Alrighty, I'll turn it over to Vice President Anderson for her report.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you are all doing well. Yes, like Paige mentioned, we are emceeing the AI Jam kickoff. And emphasis on kickoff. It's the beginning of the competition. So if you're interested in learning more, coming to the kickoff would be the exact place to visit and learn more about the competition. We are really trying to get more people involved. There's a cash prize, so you'll be essentially compensated for all the time that you spend working on it. And it's just something really cool to put on your resume under the little achievement section. We actually had the winners from the app jam last year come show us the app that they made. So this is the competition that they participated in. This year it's just AI focused. So yeah, you all should come to that. It'll be really fun and exciting. Other than that, we met with the provost and vice provost last week after President's Day, and we have big party coming up next Tuesday, which is very exciting. Yeah, I am working on a few projects. I'm talking to athletics again about tabling at some of their events, some of their games. I'm working with the Pride Center on a Pride Week that will happen in a few months. And yeah, just planning the rest of the semester. I know we have a town hall discussion later in the meeting, so get prepared for that. Other than that, I don't really have much. Very short report, but I hope you all have a good week. And let me know if you need anything.
Thank you, Vice President Anderson. Are there any questions on her report? Board. All right, seeing none, we'll turn over to her Chief of Staff, Ryan. Am I gonna read it or- Okay, sounds good. Josie, we'll go and read it.
Okay, I will read the Chief of Staff's report. It says, say the following like Nathan Dunn. Hello, Senate faculty and all those present. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. And I don't know if that was enough like Senator Dunn, but I tried. Unfortunately, I had a commitment I had made months ago, which is why I'm unable to attend today's meeting, but I'm available via email and text at any time. Here are some activities that I'm working on. The first gen event is in planning. She's meeting with James to start event planning. They're hoping for late April to have this event. Dreamers event, Dreams to be Heard, take place this Friday. Anyway, grad day, she's working on that at the farmers market, hopefully the first week of May. She's working on AS Family Day. She's speaking to Kevin and marketing. And then she's also in communication with the Alumni Association to see if they would be interested in collaborating with us regarding any of these events. And here are some updates on cabinet. The Assistant Chair of Finance is working on Finance Committee topics such as the annual budget for the 2024-2025 school year. The recommendations have been given to President Hodgeloo for review. The Chair of Elections is working on marketing materials for the elections events coming up soon. She's also working on debate formatting with her committee members. The Assistant Chair of Elections has also been working on marketing materials for the elections, and they're working on a promo video. The Chair of Legislative Affairs has been working on setting up materials for chess and has continued to work on logistics for this event. She's also working on material for the primary elections by collaborating with marketing on lawn signs. Also collaborating with the Chair of Communications and personnel to work on the social media aspect of the primary election. The Chair of DEI attended the EEC meeting in which they discussed retention for faculty. She also attended the Police Advisory Committee meeting with President Hodgeloo. She said it was amazing to see that kind of work, the kind of work the committee has done and continues to do. DEI week invitations are officially out for April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then the cultural welcomes were a success. The Chair of Personnel and Communications gave out pins on President's Day, which I hope you were able to get a chance to see. She's been working on elections as well as Heritage Month recognitions, and she's also working on Member of the Month. Last but not least, our Chief Justice is going to have their first official meeting of the semester since Judicial Court has officially met quorum. However, they're still in the process of changing the code, so there will be some adjustments made. Other than that, this is all for Chief of Staff Ryan's report. She'll be available via message or email, so please don't hesitate to reach out to her. Thank you.
Thank you to Vice President Anderson for reading Sam's report. We'll go ahead and move on. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to text or email her. We'll go ahead and move on to our Chair of Finance, Tran, for her report.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Happy Monday. I'll start by sharing our account balances. Within STAR, we have $152,136.00. Within unassigned contingency, we have $731,195. Clubs and orgs and Phil Fund both have $15,000. And Clubs and Orgs Travel has $264. So I think we might even exhaust it by next week. It was kind of shared in Chief of Staff's report, but we shared our Finance Committee recommendations for the budget and Code on Finance to Paige Hodgeloo. And the AS President has about 1 week to review it and send back any recommendations or notes. So this period is going to be open for discussion between Finance and the President. After that, it'll be going to Senate, where the Senate will have 2 weeks to sit on it and vote. And aside from that, I don't have too much to share, aside from just doing my regular chair duties, like processing star requests and things of that nature. Thank you.
Thank you to our Chair of Finance. Are there any questions on her report? All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and turn over to our Attorney General, who I think has an exciting announcement.
Yes, I've got a few things on my report, but I'm going to start with the more technical things. So one change that we're making, and this is something that I already told all of you within the committees, but I'll repeat it again here just because we're going to have one of these, we already have one of these on the agenda, is that we're changing, we're asking for more information on when you make the motions to allocate funding, and to be precise, that's instead of saying, I move to approve line item blank, we're going to say who is receiving the funding, the total amount being allocated, what the funding is for, specifically like if it's a tablecloth facility rental, we're getting into the nitty gritty there, and then where the funding is coming from, like if it's from unassigned contingency or clubs and orgs, just for minute recording purposes and also for clarity, and also so we all know what it is that we're voting on. So just keep that in mind for the upcoming items on our agenda. Also, last Wednesday, I went to a neighborhood council meeting. If anyone's interested in being involved more in their neighborhood, there are openings that we've been looking to fill, or if you just want to join one of the committees there, you absolutely can. I'm the chair of the beautification committee, so you could definitely get in there. Also, in the front desk, we're having you sign in on paper. Right now, there's just difficulty because there's so many different methods that we reach out to about office hours with the emails and then the talking to the person at the front desk, and then there's just too many channels for it. So it'll be much simplified if you just sign in on paper. Like just, it has all the details there. That way it'll be much easier to track. So let me know if you have any questions on that. And good job to all the committees for tackling all the referrals. We've had a ton of referrals, and everyone's been using up, for the most part, everyone's been using up their entire hour and having to cut it off at 6. So it's been really impressive how everyone's using those committee meeting times. Good job. Keep up the good work, and it's really impressive. And then for my most exciting update, I'll set the stage for you. So since last summer, I've been working to unionize student assistants with a bunch of other people as well. But I was the head of a organizing committee that is in charge of Cal State, Northridge, Dominguez Hills, Long Beach, and Sonoma State. And we would do a bunch of canvassing. We'd go in person, talk to people, send out a million text messages. And then we had our election of whether or not student assistants would unionize. So we went out to Sacramento to watch as the Public Employment Relations Board came out and announced the results of the election. And it was a tense atmosphere. They said 7,050 votes yes, and then in the no's 200. So it was a 97% yes vote. And now there's just going to be a process of it being certified and everything, but it's really huge news for the face of the labor on campus and across the CSU. And I think there'll be even more unionizing action to come in the future. So that's my update.
Thank you so much, Golden. That is a huge, huge win for our student employees. And thank you for all your work with that. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm just so excited. Alrighty, are there any questions on our Attorney General's report? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and turn over to standing committees, starting with External Affairs.
Good morning, everyone. I will save most of what I have to say about the meeting for our discussion item on AB 928, as that is where most of the meeting spent. that is how it's too early for this. So that's mainly what our discussion revolved around was AB 928. So I'll just wait to say what happened in the meeting. Then beyond that, we tabled most of the legislative referrals we received last week's Senate meeting to next week. The one we tabled indefinitely was course enrollment should display accurate costs, as that was identical to transparent course material cost. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions on Senator Kaddish's report? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Internal Affairs.
Morning, everybody. So as a quick update, we have 2 items in unfinished business and 3 items in new business, 2 of which are approvals that we'll be looking at today. And then we'll be seeing them in Senate next meeting, hopefully. And yeah, we still have our discussion item, which is project generation, and we're going to be touching bases with that today, or tomorrow, I mean, in our meeting, if we have enough time, because like what Golden said, we've been using our entire hour, if not even going 5 minutes over. So we've got a lot of work, but it's all being delegated well, and we've been pretty time efficient.
Thank you so much, Senator Tybee. Are there any questions on his report? All right, seeing none, we'll turn it over to University Affairs. Nathan's not going to disappoint it, I don't think.
All right, so never too early. For unfinished business, we just went over the referrals that we had already been assigned. That's parking safety signs, maybe a coordination with like a Matador Day type thing, and AS accounting update. We also got a new referral, more shade on campus, specifically some of the bus stops and maybe some other places as well. So Senator Carranza will take that on. Other than that, it was a pretty uneventful meeting.
Thank you, Senator Dunn. Are there any questions on his report? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and turn it over to our Executive Director, Patrick Bailey.
Hi, good morning, everyone. A couple things. One is when you talk about budget, I want you to know that that doesn't really impact our budget. We get no money from the CSU whatsoever. Yay. Our money actually comes from the fees that you pay. So we are via head count. So as long as enrollment stays steady where they say it's going to be next year, our budget will be fine. In addition, we learned last week that, and we are governed, our student assistants are not a part of the unionization. So congratulations, Golden, on that election. That was an overwhelming win, 97%. That's great. But our students are a part of, because we're a nonprofit, that we sit on the campus of Cal State Northridge. We're seen as university employees, but we're not state employees. Our checks are not signed by Gavin, they're signed by me. So our students go by LA City, and LA City is having another pay raise July 1. So our student assistants that we had budgeted will all go up 50 cents. We also have to look at what impaction that has on full-time staff, because certain people have to make double the minimum wage. So when that happens, there's a whole impaction because I can't have someone making more than their supervisor. So we'll be looking at all those adjustments for July 1. I wanted to tell you that we have wrapped up many of the searches. There's a personnel board meeting this Thursday. So by then we will have the assistant director of the Children's Center completed. We'll have the office manager for the Children's Center completed, the supervising teacher for the Children's Center completed, hopefully the sport club manager position completed, and the productions coordinator. Did I forget anybody? On this week, yeah. The other search that's going on is a search for my position. So today was supposed to be my last Senate meeting, but it's not. I have agreed to stay on until they hire a replacement, and then I'll help transition them over. So I'll still be on your Zoom and sending you reports until that happens. But this will be my last probably meeting here. So that means this weekend, I spent most of the weekend cleaning my office. So if you're looking for any vintage AS or CSUN merch. I have a big bucket of it in my office. Or if you're looking for random little tchotchkes to put all over your house, I have 2 buckets of those as well. So after the meeting, if you want to come over to my office, you can go through and like take everything you want. So, and with that, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much to our Executive Director, Patrick Bailey. I was going to make an announcement, but I didn't want to like say anything too soon. But yeah, later. Are there any questions on his report? Alrighty, if there are none, I'll turn over to our University Advisor, Asia Butler.
So we have some upcoming events. We have our Cesar Chavez Volunteer and Service Fair. It's going to be Thursday, March 28th. We'll be on the University Library lawn from 11 to 2. And then we also have our Clubs and Orgs Award Ceremony happening on Wednesday, April 24th. We are looking for students to serve on the committees for the different nominations. I believe an email went out, so if you're interested in doing that, please sign up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions on her report? Right, if there are none, we'll turn it over to our Faculty Advisor, Dr. Veda Ward.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We're a little gray today, but we need that to calm down. Always great to start off the week with each of you. I want to congratulate you on your wonderful event last Monday. It was great seeing the presidents and of course honoring our own William Watkins and coming through AS and being here on our campus for so long, being so committed. And it's certainly something that you want to think about in terms of your own leadership development. We're about 1/3 of the way through the semester now. And so things, of course, I hope are leveling out for you. You have all your plans. Your time is what's most important at this point. Really focusing on what you're doing in class as well as out and maintaining that balance. It's also award season coming up, and there are many jokes out there about every weekend there's some type of an award. I watched Independent Spirit Awards yesterday, and I think SAG Awards, etc. So those are things that are really representative of our culture in Southern California and Los Angeles. And so again, you want to be thinking about those kinds of things too. If you were to create an award for your department, your career, your professional area, what would that look like? And again, it's that time when you can really start to focus on what your legacy might be in terms of academic as well as professional development. So I really think that's an important thing to think about. Working with some faculty members to come up with those ideas. Some of your departments will have sponsorships and awards, scholarships coming up at the end of the semester. This would be the time to be reaching out to your constituents to see who is really in need and who is valued and who's making a contribution to your department. So again, those are conversations that you can have with your faculty as well as your peers. In addition, I think there's one thing that you want to think about, and that is the difference between formal and informal channels that you go through. Many of you are great at negotiating the very standard traditional mechanisms that we put in place, whether it's negotiating with your administrators, your faculty, your department, or your colleagues. So again, the idea is to really keep on top of that and make those small, informal communications really work for you and your peers. And then finally, I just like to mention anything that you feel is coming up for you this semester, let the faculty know. Again, absences can be really important for those of you who are in face-to-face, in-person classes. Again, the idea is just keeping everybody abreast and informed, knowing what's going on, and then of course, preparing for your upcoming assignments. I always want to thank the audience, the gallery for coming, and those who sneak out early. And always want to give a shout out to our Giving Day, because that's one of the ways that we pay it forward, not only in the classroom, but obviously literally. All right, so thanks everybody and have a great week.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ward. Are there any questions on her report? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to new business since we don't have any unfinished business. We do have two Finance Committee recommendations, and as Golden mentioned, before, or if we're going to make a motion, we need to read out the entire motion and also ensure that we are understanding what it's exactly it is allocating towards. So if it's, tablecloths or signage or anything like that. So I think I'll turn it over to our Chair of Finance, Tran, to go over our first one, which is for the silent disco event.
Yes, thank you, Paige. So the first one we have is for Towards Productions Silent Disco event. They're planning on hosting this event to promote Big Show with Steve Aoki. So this event will take place 2 days before the Big Show event. Let me pull up their requests. We fully funded this request, so I'm just going to pull up their breakdown. Yep. So the breakdown for this one would be silent disco DJs, $5,800 and $30 for snacks. So the total requests and our total recommendation was for $5,830 from unassigned contingency.
Can everyone see that? Is it clear to everyone? Let me make sure. Alrighty. Oh, yeah.
And so just since we're going to be getting used to this, so we're going to read exactly what's on the agenda, but then also say the breakdown, which is listed up there. So you move to, and then read that agenda item exactly, and then include that it is 5,800 for silent disco DJs and $30 for snacks. So we're really covering everything.
Thank you. Alrighty. Are there any questions on this before we make a motion? Alrighty. Is there a motion? Senator Tybee.
I move to allocate $5,830 from unassigned contingency to Associated Students Productions for Silent Disco, which includes the following breakdown of $5,800 for the silent disco DJs and $30 for snacks.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Is there a second? Vice President Anderson, thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all those in favor of approving $5,830 from unassigned contingency to Associated Students Production for the silent disco, please raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Any abstained? All right, the motion passes. We're now going to move on to line item number 2, and our Chair of Finance can probably share the breakdown with us as well.
Yeah, of course. I can provide more context. So this is a English-based fraternity, Sigma Tau Delta Iota Chi. They currently do not have an annual budget at all for this year, and so they're submitting a supplemental budget to receive some funding for some events that they want to put on. So they're seeking 2 main events, an annual symposium and also a guest speaking event. They submitted them as 2 separate supplemental requests, but finance, we combined it into one giant request for you all. Yeah, so the first one, they're seeking a annual symposium event. They want to showcase their academic work. It's an all-day event open to all students in the campus community. And they're offering public reading opportunities, aligning with their literacy mission, and also some practical experience as well. The second event is a guest speaking event, and they want to invite 2 guest speakers to come and speak to their students. It might be taking place over Zoom or in person, but probably over Zoom, and they want to compensate these speakers as well. So for the annual symposium, they're seeking $800 for guest speakers, That's 2 guest speakers since that's our VPN limit. $1,000 in magazine printing costs, $100 in flyers, social media for 100 and tablecloth for 150, as well as a banner for 150. And items 5 and 6, tablecloth and banner, are both reusable items. And for the guest speaking event, they're seeking $800 for guest speaker. So within this one budget request, they're going to exhaust all their guest speaking funds. And yes, their total request is going to be for $3,100.
And I see that, as these are two separate ones, please, when you're making, the motion, to read what's on the agenda and then include when it says for an annual symposium, and then also say and a speaker event, since those are, not the same. And then I know it's a lot, but also, yeah, it's on page 14 of the agenda, but then also read off all those specifics, and then also clarify the difference between annual symposium and speaker event.
Alrighty, oh, okay. So thank you so much, our Chair Vance, for the extra context. Again, it's in page 14 of your agenda, in case you can't see it up there, just want a closer look at it. Is there a motion? Promise you it's not that hard to make a motion. You can just read off the list of everything. It's like our honor society is not going to gain any money. Yes, Senator Saravia.
I move to approve the allocation of $3,100 from unassigned contingency to Sigma Tau Delta, what was it? Iota Chi for an annual symposium, which would include a guest speaker for, did I say that wrong? I'm
Just
sorry.
also include and speaker event.
Okay, I move to approve the allocation of $3,100 from unassigned contingency to Sigma Tau Delta Iota Chi for an annual symposium and a guest speaker. That includes the breakdown of the annual symposium having a guest speaker fee of $800, magazines $1,000, flyers $100, social media $100, tablecloth $150, banner $150, and their speaker event, their guest speaker being $800.
Alrighty, thank you. Is there a second? Vice President Anderson, thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all those in favor of allocating $3,100 from unassigned contingency to Sigma Tau Delta Iota Chi for an annual symposium and guest speaker event, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great, the motion passes. Alrighty, we don't have any more new business items or information items. We do have a couple of discussion items. The first one being Assembly Bill 928. I think I will turn it over to Senator Kaddish, if that's okay. That is in your committee. So yes, take it away.
Sure. So it seems like it would be a great opportunity for us today to discuss as a Senate how we feel about AB 928. And external affairs, for the majority of our meeting last week, we actually had a lot of discussion about how the committee felt about these changes. And what I had us do is, since everyone was already familiar with AB 928, I had everyone write down their opinion towards if they preferred CSU GE Breath or Cal Get C. And then I also had them assign a number from 1 to 10 about how strongly they felt about their opinion. And then after everyone wrote it down, we went through the rest of the referrals and we came back to the discussion. And then we all shared how we felt, keeping it to what was on the computer. So that way our opinions wouldn't fluctuate as much based on who spoke previously. And it seemed that CalGet C was the preferred option in our committee. We had 5 people prefer that over the 3 that preferred CS2 GE Breath. And the reasoning was that the 5 units that would be returned to campuses could be used more adaptively towards each campus, and it potentially has more use to be more beneficial towards CSU students. The reasoning for GE Breath as the preferred option was that it would require several changes to university courses that may have a detriment to CSU students, given how long changes can take. And also there's, again, the feelings towards keeping certain requirements, like making sure students are familiar with the arts and humanities and keeping U100 or a substitute course as a requirement. And it's also been working currently for students, CSU GE Breath. So let's see. I believe that's about all the feelings, and everyone felt pretty strong in their opinion for the most part.
Alrighty, now is the time. If anyone has any comments or suggestions or questions, to raise your hand, ask. Obviously, we're just trying to get a better, broader perspective from everyone, not just the External Affairs Committee, especially when we do end up writing a resolution on this, whether or not we're in favor or against the Assembly bill. So that's why we brought it here to Senate to have an entire discussion. So, yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
My question is, I do not remember much of the slides the page show, but GE Breath, was it the one that had 3 units for science, life sciences, or was it 4 units instead?
GE Breath had 3, and then CalGet C would change it to requiring an additional laboratory unit.
And GE Breath was just like 3 unit lecture class for the life sciences, is that correct? Or was it 2 unit lecture class and 1 unit laboratory?
So it says 3 units life sciences, but I think sometimes, I could be incorrect here. I think sometimes they include like a laboratory unit as one of those 3, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, no, Senator Cash is right. It would be 2 units for the lecture and 1 for the lab class.
My question is, I don't know if it's towards Matthew or Paige, but I don't know why they're adding another unit for laboratory when it comes to the other one. I think that's a little bit too much for people who are doing general courses. I think mostly for us, STEM majors as biological sciences or life sciences, we do 4 units class or 5 units class, but I don't know. I think 4 units, it will be a little bit too much for people that are non-life sciences majors.
Yes, Senator Khan.
I want to add perspective to that because I understand where you're coming from as like the major you're in, but as someone who's taken the general education laboratory class, it's nothing like an upper division or major specific laboratory class. It's more like lecture, and then the lab is either online in a computer lab or work, like workbooks, worksheets, that type of thing. There are labs that you do have to go in and do physical projects, but it's nothing like a science or STEM majors lab. So I think that it is intimidating to look at and read, but in reality, it just offers more perspective for the students' sake rather than additional workload. Because look at the units too. They're not increasing necessarily, like the 3 units are 3 units. Like that's just a class. So yeah, I just want to offer that perspective.
Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
Totally understandable. What I can say about that is that I know that there's like 4 units for a reason, probably because of the amount of hours that you have to spend during the week on the class. I do not agree that some laboratory work has to be online because it's not the same experience. But I know that's not my, that's something that I cannot probably change. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yes, Senator Kaddish.
I was actually very curious about that as well, why there was a change there, and I literally can't find anything. And I haven't seen anybody talk about it, so I am very curious as to why that is being changed to begin with. But I will say I did anecdotally have a very simple lab requirement. I believe I took astronomy like 1 something, and I just had to do some like worksheets, and it was barely a problem. But I could see it being a potential issue that a freshman would then take 4 units. And I think with that additional unit, there is some leeway for faculty to determine how much added coursework time there is. So that might be a little bit much for an incoming freshman that isn't used to the amount of work required for a college class just yet.
Any further thoughts? It is displayed on the screen right here, the difference in the 2 pathways. As you can tell, obviously the one on the left-hand side is what we currently have, and the one on the right is the one that they're kind of debating on. So, yeah, Senator Toledo Carranza.
Definitely agree with Matthew that probably it will be a little bit too harsh on freshmen, incoming freshmen. And I am not so sure either why it's 3 units on the other hand and why 4 units on the other one, which is kind of like, I am not so sure why is that, if there's much more coursework time to do, because I know that sometimes units, what's it called? Shows like the amount of time that you have to spend on the class, so I am not so sure about that. That's just a question.
Yeah, just to clarify, yeah, usually when a class is 1 more unit, you'll be spending more, there's more classwork and everything. My perspective on this is because they're taking away section E, the lifelong learning, and taking away one of the C sections, an extra arts and humanities class, that they just added it to the life science section. I mean, it's kind of a simple explanation. I'm not for sure if that exactly is the truth, but that's kind of what we've had. That's the discussion we've had a lot in CSSA. Yes, Senator Kaddish.
Just bringing up a concern I had with CalGet C was the fact that because it's 34 units, it's not divisible by 3. And with CSU courses, they're generally in units of 3. And I know that sometimes schedules become more trickier with different units that aren't within 3. So I'd worry that with whatever they replaced the next 5 units with, that would end up with a weird number of classes. And it would really be, it's very ambiguous right now as to how those units would be used, because it would be up to the discretion of the university, but no university really knows what they would be used for currently.
Any other thoughts? This is, yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
My question is, so CSU G breath will, it's total of 39 units, and then Get C will be 39 as well, or it would just stay 34 units?
It will stay 34, those extra 5 units. It's up to the campus to decide how they want to allocate them. And I don't know what CSUN's thought, if this is something that does end up getting passed, I would not be able to answer that.
And that's a decision being made by, do you know who?
The 5 units?
Yes.
Yeah, by EPC, the Educational Policies Committee. which is a group of like faculty, and there's some staff on there as well, and a student representative as well on that committee. So
Is there any way we are able to voice our opinion on for the committee, or I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I serve on the committee, so you're more than welcome to share things with me, which I usually mention before every meeting that we have. We meet bi-weekly on Wednesdays. But something that we've been talking about in EPC is that from the EPC perspective, we don't really have a say in whether this gets passed or not. It's up to the chancellor's office at the end of the day. The only thing that EPC can control is where we use those 5 units. And they're not really at that point yet because they don't want to make that decision if they don't know if it's going to be passed. Because there are a lot of people that are against this. The main purpose of creating this is that it's more accessible for students to get on the ADT path, which is the associate degree for transfer, so that they fulfill more of their GE units at the community college. And when they transfer to CSUN or when they bring their units from dual enrollment in high school, they can more easily reach that associate degree. So it's helping people get to that point faster. But there's talk in EPC that the chancellor's office intends for that to happen and create more opportunities for students to get ADTs, but in a way it's actually not doing that. I can bring more information when we meet again, but yeah, it's a lot of it is up in the air. I do know that Faculty Senate created a resolution to stay where we are and stay with the current GE. And that's where a lot of the faculty on EPC stand, but I can bring back more information because a lot of it is a little bit all over the place.
Thank you.
any further discussion? Go for it. Vice President Anderson?
I do just want to add one thing. EPC has talked about lightly if this is passed and we do have to figure out where those 5 units go. A lot of it will be, a few of them will be placed in the section F on ethnic studies, and things that have to do with diversity and things like that.
Any further thoughts, comments, questions on this? Keep in mind, you all represent very different colleges and like grade levels. I mean, grade levels, I don't know if that's a good class standings. So this definitely can affect everyone differently. So if you are, this, please, I guess I should say, please just share your opinion just because you are representing all different grade levels and it's definitely going to affect every college, every major very differently. Yes, Senator Kaddish.
Just to share my opinion of where I think GE should go over the course of the next few years, I think it would be a great idea for universities to consider looking into new courses that satisfy GE options, but that also tie into your specific major. So I think in our day, college students are looking towards trying to improve their career pathway. And they're very much going to college for very specific goals in mind. So I think it would be nice for there to be more options for GEs to cover ground in both, the arts, but what if it related to STEM majors as well? I think it would be nice for incoming freshmen to experience cross-collaborative classes. And I think that would be an interesting thing for us to say if we encourage them to do that. Along with the idea of something like keeping CSU GE breast. And then with Cal Gets C, I think it would be, if we chose that option, I think it would be, it is a good opportunity for us to express where we believe those 5 units should go. If we think they should go towards arts, if they should go back to their majors, I think that this is just a good opportunity regardless for us to have input about where courses will go in the near future.
Yes, Senator Saravia.
I definitely think that I see where everyone's going in regards to GETC. I hope I'm saying that right. I do think that having those 5 units go back into the colleges and having them or their students decide what courses they can take that goes towards their major? Because I do know that some organizations on campus like AS, you have to have a certain amount of units done from your college, not GE, for your college that goes towards your major in order to participate in AS. So having those 5 units go back to the students and to the colleges might encourage more students to be able to be like, oh, I completed a certain amount of units, maybe that means I can get more involved on campus. My only concern is mainly in regards to the sciences, because when you are told that you have to take a science, when you apply, it says that it's a 2-unit course, and then that 1 extra unit that makes it a 3-unit is a lab. So I'm very confused and a bit concerned as to why all of a sudden it's going to become a 4-unit course, especially when science courses aren't necessarily just for STEM majors. Students that are in like the College of Humanities have to take sciences in order to fulfill GEs, and students that are in the teaching programs like the one I am in, they have to take sciences at least 4 times. And that includes a biological science, a life science, and an extra one of either physical, life, or biology. So that would be like my main concern, that students have to put in so much effort into a science course when it doesn't really benefit them within their major.
Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
Definitely agree with that. As well as with the 5 more units for GETC, I feel like that also should depend on the college. I feel like a lot of incoming freshmen, sometimes they change majors abruptly, and because they're taking a lot of GEs, probably it's not connected to the major that they're following. And so I think that should be like an option for them to actually choose whatever like lower division science or whatever major they're going for to choose, so they can get that experience of what the courses in their major are, and get a step into the major, not by taking upper division courses, but probably have that option of like, oh, if you are going for I don't know, a theater major, you can take probably a lower division acting class to see how it is. And so they can make that change accordingly, because sometimes they change majors after 2-3 years of being in the major itself, and that can also be a financial aid issue on the student.
Yes, Senator Tybee, and then Senator Sarabia.
I remember this being mentioned earlier, but I believe it sounds like one of the main reasons for this change was to have students having dual enrollment in high school and students in community college get their associate's degree sooner, right? Was that like a big reason for this?
Yeah, so just to touch on that. Oh, running over. Okay, yeah, so right now, this proposal has been accepted for transfer students. So when a transfer student is in community college, they will follow the right one, the Cal GETC, the 34 units, and that applies to both CSU and UCs. So they don't have to worry about following a certain path for a different system. We're talking right now about incoming freshmen. And so it's just, do we want our incoming freshmen to align with how the transfers came in with their GE units, or do we want them to stay at the current CSU GE breadth? And again, like Josie mentioned, the ADT associate's degree for transfer, that will allow them to have that degree to be able to go to a UC or CSU system or school after they finish their AA. Yeah. Does that clear things up?
Yeah, a lot actually. So if we keep it as is with the GE breadth, then incoming students would be completing a lot more coursework than a transfer would, pretty much.
Correct.
And if we add on additional courses that kind of adapt to the Cal GETC, these freshmen will still be completing more coursework than an incoming transfer would. Like what I think Matthew was suggesting earlier about having just more like the introductory courses like the U100s, I believe, and all of that to explore different facilities on campus.
So they won't necessarily be completing more coursework. It just depends on where that coursework is assigned. So for example, those extra 5 units could go towards their major. Regardless, they'll have 120 units when they graduate. It's just they didn't have to take 2 extra GEs. They took 2 extra maybe major classes. So regardless, everyone will be taking, or everyone will graduate with 120 units, like minimum, to get your bachelor's degree. It just depends on the category, let's say. Yes, let me call on Senator Saravia first. Did you have had your hand raised? I wanted to call on you and see if you.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna touch on Senator Talita Carranza's point that not only could the 5 majors be used, like if incoming freshmen decide to change their major, it could also benefit them in regards to whether they decide when coming to CSUN that they have a minor in mind. So I definitely think that having those 5 units extra going towards a major or even just their minor so that they don't, if they wish not to, they don't have to spend as much time at CSUN that affects like their plans or anything like that.
Thank you. Senator Kadish, I know you had your hand raised.
From my understanding, it seems like the Board of Trustees and overall the CSU system doesn't have anything currently in mind for freshman students. You know, they could choose to keep CSU GE Breath, they could choose Cal Get C, but I'm kind of curious if they'd be open to receiving feedback towards Cal Get C and altering it to remove that laboratory requirement or to make biological sciences 2 and include the laboratory unit. So that way we can keep that at 3, but then leave the other two courses removed from C3 and E. So we can propose that an altered Cal Get C program.
Yes, Vice President Anderson.
One thing I think might be useful that I learned through EPC is that the Associate VP of Undergraduate Studies, Dr. Lazzaroni, he is meeting with all of the deans from each college and talking to them about their opinions on this. So, and he's very knowledgeable about the subject. So if you all are interested, I think it might be useful to invite him for a special presentation or discussion to talk more about this, just so we have the exact information. And we're not just debating on what's actually going on.
Yes, Patrick.
I'm sure this won't be a popular comment with everyone, but I will say that research has proven time and time and time again that a student who takes an orientation class or here we call it University 101, always are going to be much more successful than those who don't. Currently, I think our institution does a very disservice to students because not everyone is required to take an orientation class. What they've allowed colleges to do is to develop their own course, which is stupid, because what they don't require them to do is to keep a core element of that course that has to be in everything. So if you by chance start in the Nazarian school and you have their orientation class and you decide to change majors, you've got nothing. So I think it's always very fearful when we look at taking those courses away, which really helps probably more than anything a student to be successful in their first year here at CSUN. And if you went to a school before you came here, it's different. Every school is unique. So if you went and got a 2-year degree at PCC, you don't know CSUN. You may know PCC. And so again, I think the resources that students can receive, it's important that they know they're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I was just going to share my own thoughts. A lot of discussion that we have in CSSA is against this just because of that exact reason. The orientation course is a really big deal for a lot of students, especially incoming freshmen taking that course. I'll even share my own story. Like, I would not be here if I didn't take that course, to be honest, like genuinely not, because that opened the door to everything and I like found connections and everything and just people to contact. So I think it's a really valuable course. I didn't take the one pertaining to my major. I don't know how much that would help me, to be honest. But that's just a thought that I wanted to throw out there on behalf of the rest of the board of directors for CSSA. Yes, Senator Saravia.
Is there, like Senator Kaddish said, is there any way we could discuss with anyone in regards to like GETSI, like trying to alternate, trying to change it a little bit so that it fits a little bit better? If this is something that they would like to move, like for freshmen, is there any way we could add something or take something out? Or maybe like try to discuss with them what we think is more beneficial to keep and take away?
Not necessarily. This is like a CSU-wide thing. It's like an assembly bowl with assembly members, and it's a Title V revision, so we really can't do that. The only thing I would say is that if it does get approved, Cal GETSI, those extra 5 units are where you really could step in and advocate for it being allocated to a certain, college or a certain line item or requirement type of thing. But not necessarily. As of right now, the Board of Trustees has to approve the Title V revisions. I know it's like a new term thrown out there, but it just means essentially they have to approve the Cal GETSI for the transfer students, but they're just kind of throwing in incoming freshmen in that, again, like I mentioned earlier, but that's what it's essentially called, is the Title V revisions. So if you see that around, that's just pertaining to this. So right now, the biggest thing is to vote against the Title V revisions, which because of because they're including freshmen in the new Cal GETSI. So not really, we can't really change the units, but we can probably advocate for those extra 5 units if the Cal GETSI does get approved. Yes, Golden.
So of the things that the Senate can do in regards to a resolution, you could resolve to support keeping it exactly as it is with the GE breadth, or you could resolve to support changing to Cal GETSI, or you could resolve to support changing to Cal GETSI, and also within that urge that the CSU or that CSUN distribute those 5 units in a specific way. So really, we don't have the say of what they end up doing, but you can use your voice to really, you could think outside of the box and really advocate for however you want it to be. If you do want to advocate for like a Cal GETSI that has, a university with 100, or you want to do whatever. So it's up to you.
Completely second Golden's point. Obviously, the resolution is for that, to include all those little like stipulations and things that you think are beneficial for our campus and our students. So just keep that in mind. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Senator Toledo
I
Carranza.
have a question. So if Cal GETSI gets passed, and we're still gonna have the 5 extra units that we're gonna have to add. So is there any way still that the college itself, like the specific CSU campus, can add the University 100 course, or is it still gonna be like GETSI, it's like showing, which is not the E section required?
Yeah, so again, those extra 5 units are totally dependent on the campus. So that will be discussed in EPC, the Educational Policies Committee, whether or not they want to take 3 units and allocate that towards the section F, which is lifelong learning, and the other 2 can be something else. That's completely dependent on each CSU campus if Cal GETSI is approved.
Thank you.
Yes, Senator Kaddish.
I'd be kind of curious to hear about the opinions of those who want Cal GETSI, about what they would want those courses to be. I'm kind of curious about what we would suggest in place of E and C3.
Senator Saravia, and then Senator Sarkisian.
I would want to keep E. I honestly think that courses like the University 100 is very beneficial towards freshmen, especially if they are out of state. out of the city. A lot of them have never been outside of like their small towns or homes. A lot of them are still trying to get used to this new community, and just taking away something like that might lead to them not wanting to communicate or not wanting to put themselves out there because they don't know this area. And I feel like keeping courses like University 100 would help and encourage students to be able to put themselves out there and get more involved on campus. There are a lot of students here that want to get involved, but just don't know how. And I can speak from personal experience that without my University 100 course, I wouldn't have even thought about being part of Associated Students.
Just to add on to Senator Saravia's point, I think I definitely agree with the fact that I also think it should go towards the lifelong learning, self-development. I was a transfer student at CSUN, so I didn't have to take a University 100 course, and I did not know about Associated Students until a mutual friend of a friend had just kind of brought it up, and I ended up in a meeting, and I ended up meeting Chair of Finance Tran. She mentioned it to me in my second to last semester at CSUN. So I think it is the case that if we do have these classes, it'll definitely orient students towards a better path at CSUN to utilize everything that we give students as resources to further their educations and their futures. I think it's really important to go ahead and keep those classes. I think where I kind of struggle a little bit with it is the additional course from C1 or C2 is also really important to me as a senator of the humanities, and as an advocate for my college. I think one of the most important things, and I think it was Senator Kaddish that had mentioned it earlier, finding courses that bridge the humanities with like STEM, right? So I'm a philosophy major, and I know that we have a class called, and it's a lower division, it's a 200 level course, Philosophy of Science, which is actually really interesting in the way that it bridges the two courses. So I think that there's also a mutual beneficiality of having a course that would, as mentioned by Senator Kaddish, kind of bridge the two kind of types of colleges. So I think if it goes back towards either one of those two, university students stand to gain something huge from either one of the decisions.
Thank you. Yes.
Just a question. When are they planning to vote on this?
My understanding is at the next Board of Trustees meeting, and I think it's the middle, or like the middle to end of March. Mhm. Yes, Chair of Finance Tran.
Hi, everyone. I think I agree completely with what Matthew says about doing like cross collaborative between different majors and courses of that nature. I think a cool example would be like for psych students, they could do like art in the brain. My brother at like UC San Diego, each college there, like they have their own emphasis, and sometimes they like combine humanities and STEM courses, and he provides a lot of cool examples. So I think implementing things like that would be awesome. I think also the point of like, oh, but U100 and courses like that, it introduces a lot of like resources to students while they're freshmen and while they're in like one spot. Could we not also implement like things like that into these courses too? So like art in the brain for like standard GE courses like that, perhaps it could be built into the course that like professors kind of have to do, mention campus resources and things like that. Like, I don't think U100 is like the only way to advertise their resources on campus. So perhaps thinking about more like untraditional ways or ways that we haven't really done in the past, that might be interesting to explore as well.
Thank you, Chair of Finance. Definitely an interesting point for sure to think about when writing the resolution. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Senator Kaddish.
So I'm starting to, because I think I'll be writing the resolution along with potentially some other members of external. So I'm trying to gather everyone's opinions. But for anyone who might support Cal Gets C, is there anything you would want to do with keeping the other additional 2 units left? Because I'm hearing that we would want to keep lifelong learning and self-development for U100. So is there anybody that feels that the 2 units should be used for something else?
Senator Khan.
For the U100 class, I didn't take it here at CSUN, but by my understanding, it's not a normal course load. It's more university oriented. So could that be the 2-unit class, reduce the maybe hours they're spending in there? Not necessarily what they're learning or the resources they'll be provided, but reduce the work so that there can be a 3-unit class from one of the other sections.
Senator Kadish.
Could I ask what you would want to do with the other 3 remaining units then?
The same thing, like just provide it from somewhere else to get, you wanted an even 3, right? Divisible by 3. That was the goal.
So there would be 5 units remaining, so if we
Yeah,
attribute
so
to.
2 for U100 and then 3 from whatever the consensus is for what the choice of section would be, whether that's humanities or ethnic studies.
Okay. You want me to share my thoughts?
Sure,
Maybe?
yeah.
Okay. So, well, I'll just share my prevailing opinion for myself personally. To me, it's making more sense that we would keep CSUG brass because it seems like everyone would want to keep a U100 course. So that would be E. It seems that we have an issue with the additional laboratory unit being required to make it 4, along with the potential workload increase. And then we would just end up, even if U100 was 2 units, we would use that remainder 3 to put it back into something like humanities or arts or, and then the other option would be what the university would probably do is use it for ethnic studies. So that's not too much of a change either.
Senator Khan.
Okay, I 100% understand like what you're saying. I think that it's important to look at it from an incoming college student's perspective. They have, in California, if they choose to stay in California, they have 3 options: go to community college, go to CSU, or go to UC. So they're getting 3 different options. And if CSUs are being like, okay, instead of the 34 units that you have to complete, like every other college choice you have, we're having 39. If the student is at like has a financial issue or is just like, well, on paper, like why would I have to complete more units than if I were to just go to community college, I could get my units done faster. I'm offering this perspective as someone who advises for college for high schoolers, and on paper, I just know how they would react to this, and it's negatively, just because it doesn't look correct. So if it's a universalized CalGETC requirement, but the university itself has their own requirements, which I know they can do, I think that it'd be more appealing on paper.
Senator Kadish.
Sorry, just clarifying, CSUG breadth is more appealing or CalGETC?
CalGETC would be universalized. So it'd be one option no matter what school you end up going to. So rather than choosing something that has that, like there's 2 options that are CalGETC: go to community college, transfer to UC, or go straight to a UC and fulfill that CalGETC requirement. CSU would be the outlier, and on paper, I just feel like it's harder to understand when there's one outlier rather than having a universalized system and the university itself having different requirements that the freshmen will be introduced to once they're here, being like, okay, we're gonna have you take this University 100 class, or okay, in order to move on, we're gonna have you take this additional 3-unit class and you can choose a humanities section that you'd like to take.
Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
I have a question. So what brought to my attention is section 8.3. For GE Breath, it's called critical thinking, and GETC is called critical thinking composition. Is there a difference in that and why they're making the name change for a reason, or there's nothing?
There's no difference. I think it's just to align with the UCs, since we already have critical thinking in our section. And it's important to note too, even if there's 5 units they don't take for GE, they will still have to take 5 additional units. So whether that be in their major or another GE when they get to the campus, it's not just like gonna disappear like, oh, 5 less units, like, that's great. They will have to take those 5 units. So yeah, I think we should kind of wrap up discussion. I know external will be working on it. You can even attend external if you would like on Wednesdays at 5. So any last minute comments before we kind of wrap up here? Senator Kaddish.
I'm just curious if it would be good to take like an informal vote about who supports what.
That would be out of order.
Sorry, we can put a chat in the group me. We can. Okay. Yeah, no informal vote, but check the group me after. Alrighty. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up the discussion. We'll move on to the other discussion. I don't think it's gonna be as long, but Senator Town Halls. Bless you. No, it's all good. This is something that Senator Strawberry brought to my attention, so I think I'm gonna turn the floor to her to quickly explain her thought process behind that, and then we can open it for kind of a brief discussion.
Okay, so I have talked to almost everyone individually about doing a collaborative town hall with everyone here, all the senators, all the colleges, having a really big event where every single senator and every single college has like the opportunity to kind of just discuss all the resources that the colleges have to do. So I just wanted to kind of discuss, since everyone has to be here and everyone is here, so we could discuss about what we would like this town hall to look like and the possible time. I know some I believe Senator Scher, Senator Toledo Carranza, and Senator Iman had discussed about having it be a sort of like final goodbye to all of our constituents, kind of like saying like, we got to represent you guys. We want to just give you guys a final like rundown of everything that your university and our colleges have to offer you, along with the Alumni Association, which would be discussed with the upper division senators, and research opportunities and internship opportunities that could be discussed by the lower division senators, just something big like that, just so we could get our names out there and not have all the students have to go to individual town halls, since we do have to technically do two town halls. Just one collaborative one would be really fun, and just our last big event with everyone. So yeah.
Yes, Senator Owais Khan.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, granted. Senator Kaddish, I saw you had your hand raised.
Yeah, so I think that timeline is kind of interesting, having it towards the end of the year. I find that town halls are a good opportunity for us to gauge what students would want changed on campus and whatnot. So I think if we were to have it towards the end of the year, considering many of us want to be in our current positions or next year because we're either leaving or switching around, I think it would be an interesting idea to invite whoever's going to be the next senators if it took place after the election. So that way they could hear the input, so they had something in mind for the next year.
Thank you. Yes, Vice President Anderson.
This is my first time hearing about this. I've never heard a thing about this. But I just worry that we already have a lot of large events being planned. Big party, big show. We have the farmers market every single week. We have tons and tons of things going on. And I just worry that doing this one really large event is going to be placing a lot of extra stress on marketing and productions and just the people that are supporting us. So I'm not sure if it's super feasible. I think it's a good idea, but we would really have to look it over and figure out what the details are. I also worry the point of town halls and constituent related events are that you're supposed to be meeting students where they are. And I don't know if the centralized form of an event will be doing the same thing as as doing things in your specific college, if that makes sense. I just
Patrick?
worry we're straying away a little bit from the original ideas of going out to meet your constituents and getting their feedback and doing that planning on your own and doing that planning to meet what your college, the specific intricate details that have to do with your college, compared to now we're just shoving it all together and it's losing that same touch.
Patrick, and then Chair of Finance Tran.
Just wanted to build on the idea of a big town hall, haha, like big show, big town hall. It could be interesting, and you could also invite the provost. So you could have topics that are broader across the spectrum, so advising those types of things. And I mean, you could do it so you could break out afterwards in individual colleges. I think if the provost attends, you have more, you're more than likely to get deans to attend. So if the provost is going to be here, I think that her deans would want to show up as well, which sometimes has been a challenge in some of the colleges. So.
Absolutely. Chair of Finance Tran.
Yeah, I second what Josie said. I think that like the individual town hall is more personal. I feel like the large event would feel too much like a mixer and social event, whereas an individual town hall, each senator could like, you know, present whatever they have to present. They also have more of an opportunity to meet their constituents one-on-one. I think doing a collaborative one would be great, but I still think that like it should be priority first that they do an individual town hall. I know there was a bit of a mention of a concern where like, oh, these students have to go to too many town halls, but really the idea is that they just kind of go to their own town hall. I think students that go to multiple town halls, it's because they are going for free food or things of that sort. So I think that, yeah, like each senator should throw their town hall. They don't have to do in that like typical town hall format. They can like do it in more untraditional ways, like which we've seen was explored last semester. But we could also do like individual town halls, and we could also do one giant big town hall kind of like near the end, with Matthew's inclusion of like inviting the new elected officials for next year too. That might be awesome.
Senator Toledo Carranza and then Senator Kaddish.
Yeah, so it will be 2 town halls this semester, so I do agree that we should do individual first, and then the second one, it will be last with a big town hall with the elected senators will be good as well. But at the same time, it will be a little bit of an issue because probably students will pay more attention to the elected senators that are going to be next year, and we'll just be there, just, I don't know. It's probably a little bit of an issue that could happen because we're going to be leaving our position. And so I don't know how that will work. So if the elected senators are going to be there as well, we could introduce them and everything, but I don't know if we're still going to have, they're going to see, I don't know if I'm explaining right, but yeah.
Senator Kaddish.
Yeah, I mean, just to respond to that, just real quick, I'd be curious to hear more of your thoughts about why you don't think that would be a good idea to have the future senator there. But in my mind, I was kind of picturing it to be a good idea as a second town hall. So we have one that goes out to the colleges, but then, you know, those don't always get the best turnout, but I think it is more interpersonal. But at the same time, I think if we had a second bigger town hall, we could each have like a table designated towards college or a certain section of a room. Let's say if we got the Northridge Center, it's a pretty large room. We split it off so that way people are still able to find their college's senators and maybe future senators. And also, I mean, I haven't thought about this too much, but I'd imagine that with marketing, it would actually be either easier or about the same effort, because rather than having to market like 10, 11 town halls, it's just one larger event that would have to be marketed rather than all the individual flyers and materials. Also, I think because of the lower turnout of individual town halls, I think if we had a larger one and a designated area that everyone knew about, I think we could spread the word around and get a larger turnout overall.
Yes, Senator Saravia.
So yeah, this huge big town hall was going to be an end of the year event. So it would give everyone the chance to plan their town halls, like their individual town halls before that. and then we all have this really big event, all of us together. I feel like it would also be easier for productions and marketing, because apart from those 11, having to put 11 on top of that would just create so much strain, especially with all the other events that are coming up and all the side projects that we have, like the first generation events and the Dreamers event. Like all of that would be a really big strain on marketing, to have all of those individual events, and then I want to say like 22 different town halls within these next like 2 months or 3 months. So I think the point of it was just to see like everyone's thoughts on it and whether this is something everyone would like to move forward with, so that we could all start kind of just discussing the idea, the proposal, and then start from there, just so we don't wait till the last minute and just submit the proposal and the event proposal like the last week of April, like 2 weeks before the town hall is supposed to take place. And it's just so that we could like kind of have it in our minds that this is something that a lot of us want to do, and see if everyone would be on board with it.
Yes, Senator Khan,
Permission to be recognized.
granted. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think it's a great idea for the fall, maybe, to put one in the fall. But besides marketing and productions, I think we're really missing the purpose of what a town hall is. A town hall is to connect with constituents, explain to them the resources they have, be a friendly face to them. And I feel like at the end of the year, your job is kind of done at that point. Because maybe you're graduating, maybe you don't get elected again as a senator. I'm not wishing that upon anyone, but I'm just saying, like, by that point, your job's done. So I think, first of all, obviously you all have individual town halls, so that's really important to work on those. I think by the end of the year, a lot of students are like, okay, I'm past this. I do not care about my resources because I'm either graduating, I want summer, I just want to get through my classes type of thing. So I think maybe having that in the fall semester where we have like a meet the senators with the provosts and the deans, so you can establish those connections really early on and you know that's your go-to person for the rest of the year, is really, really beneficial. And that's something that we can include in like in a transition packet or start working on right now, like a proposal type of vibe. So by the time fall rolls around, you have the summer to plan, you have plenty of time to get marketing, productions on it and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't know about the feasibility this semester or this year. Yes, Senator Kaddish.
I agree with you 100% that our jobs would basically be done. So therefore, it's like pointless to us. When I first heard the idea, I thought it'd be earlier on, like within the next month. But that's why I thought, we usually have the new senators try to come to a Senate meeting, usually the last one or second to last one. So that's why I thought it may be actually useful for them, not us, to have this town hall. So that way they can hear the inputs of freshmen through juniors that will be here the next year or several. So that way they could hear their input. And that way, when they start their term, they aren't left having to survey or having to gain new ideas. They would already have ideas from both us as senators, because I think it would be a great way to connect with them. If the deans were invited, then they could connect with the deans earlier on. And then they also hear from freshmen through juniors, and then seniors who may also come and voice their concerns that they would have towards the future of CSUN. But I think it would be an event not for us, but for the next term.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, important to note, you do have transition packets, so you can include that information in for your future senator, but our job is not necessarily to support and we obviously support, but not to plan events for the new administration. That's why we have transition packets. And that's also why we have that kind of time where maybe you can meet with them individually one-on-one to kind of guide them and transition them into your role, because senators aren't going to be able to work over the summer. They don't get paid during the summer. They don't get stipends during the summer. So they're not really going to be, Ariana, Denise, like plan this for me. I mean, they are amazing, but I just don't see a lot of senators technically, going to work during the summer when they're not getting paid for that. And their stipends start literally like the first or second week of fall, not even like the end of the spring semester when they're elected. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And obviously we don't want anyone coming back saying like, I was forced to do work and not getting paid. That's just a no-no. So that's just something to keep in mind when we think about that. Yes, Senator Khan.
I agree with what you had to say, both of you. However, I'm viewing it more of an opportunity for the students rather than us, like going to a big town hall and saying that it's not as intimidating as it might seem because, like mentioned, our town halls are significantly smaller than any of these big events we have outside or that are for the general student body rather than just your college. So I think it can open the door to reaching out, learning what's there in one centralized unit, like one centralized event, along with it could be helpful for lower division students or freshmen who have still not declared a major to explore their options, see what's out there, along with getting those resources they can use for the next 1 to 3 years, maybe even 4 or 5 years of their education in one spot. And would it be helpful in the fall? Definitely. However, like the idea is here and we have the opportunity to execute it while also doing our 2 mandatory town halls, one being intimate, one being big. I just think it's a great opportunity and this may not come into fruition later. So may as well like kick it off and see what this can bring.
Senator Sarkeesian and then Senator Tybee.
I think something that I had talked to with senators, like we had discussed it with Senator Saravia before, was the idea that if we do this town hall really big, I think it would also be it would be really good at promoting like adding majors and minors across different colleges because you're getting that information out there, not just to the constituents of your own college, but you're working together with your fellow senators to get it out to all of the constituents just of our university. So I think that there is a lot of beneficial, I think there's a lot of benefit to come from all of us kind of coming together to do it. So I definitely support this idea.
Senator Tybee.
I agree with those 2 angles. And also I'd like to add that all of our town halls, assuming our second town halls at the end of the year, would still apply with the same argument that students are just going to be graduating soon and would find the information to be potentially irrelevant anyways.
Yes, Senator Kaddish.
I just wanted to respond to what you had said about senators not doing work over the summer when they aren't getting paid. But I remember a year ago when I first joined AS, I didn't even know I was getting paid. And I think that was the case for a lot of people. They find out. I remember, Nick, when you joined AS, you didn't know that until like the first week of fall, despite being elected during the spring prior. So I think a lot of us come into this position not for work, but to advocate for students. And I remember a year ago, we had 16 legislative referrals and university affairs alone by our first meeting, because we spent the entire summer coming up with ideas of what we wanted to advocate for students. And I think and that was just university affairs alone, I think we had 30, I think, at the beginning. And then the rest were spread across internal and external. And I think if we encourage the future senators to think ahead and start planning and have the ideas come to more fruition in their heads over summer, then that way they can enter fall with more specific goals in mind. And then I think in that way, we would end up benefiting both our current constituents for their futures and also continue on getting better work done in AS for the long run.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's a great point to be able to have senators or, future senators hit the ground running right away. My only concern is there's not enough time to execute this for it to actually follow the purpose of a town hall. Because it's already the end of February. Let's say we submit a request. You're looking at a month and a half to plan, to market, And that's already going to be by like April-ish. And I just feel like at that point, a lot of students, I mean, we graduate in like almost early May, like we're done early May kind of. So I just don't see this really having a lot of purpose as like what we want it to have. But we want it to be, I don't think it's going to be what we want it to be. That's why I suggest if you want to like submit a proposal, say, hey, keep this on the radar for fall. If any of you maybe are planning on coming back, you know what I'm saying? But that's just my only worry, because we're not the ones designing things on campus. We're not the one reserving rooms and tables. We're not the ones setting up tables, and that's things sometimes we often forget. So I just think keep that in mind, that it might not go exactly as planned. Vice President Anderson.
I'll second page on that, but also you guys are more than welcome to submit the proposal and do it and try and make it happen. I think we just want to offer those warnings, but you are more than welcome to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other thoughts or comments? Yes, Senator Tybee.
Maybe we can have a poll in the group meeting for the senators.
Y'all better check the group me after this meeting then. Quite a few polls in there. No, yeah, that's a really good point. We can definitely see about that. Okay, is there any further, just Vice President Anderson?
I'll just make the last comment before we move on. I do want to remind you, as I mentioned, I believe it was either last week or the week before, or maybe both. I'm scheduling senator check-ins for the week of March 4th and the week of March 11th, which are before spring break. And one thing I'm requesting from you to have ready for those senator check-ins is your first town hall completely laid out and or executed. So please come with that prepared. Yeah.
So just keep that in mind, obviously, that all of your town halls, either the proposal's completed, you have rooms reserved, you have a plan, you know what's in the budget, or if you are buying anything, just because obviously, again, we're not having any of those last minute town halls like last semester, which is it was totally fine, but obviously now we're learning and we know now this semester. Alrighty, are there any further questions, concerns? Alrighty, seeing none, we have only one legislative referral from Senator Kaddish that I'll go ahead and read off. This is from Senator Kaddish, titled Updating Codes for External Affairs and University Affairs. Always you with the long request, Senator Kaddish, my goodness, just kidding. The External Affairs Committee tends to have fewer referrals assigned to it that fits its current code than the other two standing committees. Conversely, University Affairs tends to have many referrals that fit its current code. While the AS president can assign referrals as they see fit, changing the two codes could more naturally and lastingly fix the balance as referrals come in at the beginning of each semester and inspire more referrals overall. The charge of external affairs can be adjusted to include referrals regarding CSUN's other auxiliary organizations, which would currently be under University Affairs to balance the committee's workloads. It may also help inspire members of external affairs to brainstorm more ways for AS to engage with its neighboring organizations. Also, this change arguably fits the names of the committee very well, as the auxiliary organizations are technically outside of the university, yet connected to it. Additionally, to foster better relations with different groups on campus and in conjunction with switching roles, the code should also shift the ex officio member of the chair of the USU Board of Directors and designee from University Affairs to External Affairs. Beyond improving the relationship between AS and the USU, we could also consider reaching out to the Residence Hall Association to have them designate a member to join University Affairs and as an ex officio member, leading to stronger collaborations between AS and Residence Hall Association. This was suggested to go to Internal Affairs, and that is where it will go. Alrighty. We don't have, that was the last legislative referral, announcements section. Are there any announcements from the board? Yes, Vice President Anderson.
I just want to say our Chair of Communications and Personnel planned a group photo for today, which we will be taking after this Senate meeting. So please stick around. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Saravia.
I just wanted to remind everyone that the College of Humanities is going to be having a pizza event where students will get the opportunity to meet not only the college's dean and associate dean, but also the AS senators. So hopefully you guys will be there. It'll be this Thursday. from 1 PM to 3 PM in the, I think it's the Witset room.
It's Sierra Hall
Witsit.
461.
Witsit in, okay, Sierra Hall or room 400. So
Awesome. Thank you for that. If you have any marketing material, feel free to drop that in the group me, or send it to any of us. Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
Just wanted to announce the women's rugby team won last game, so. Yeah, that's all.
Whoa, how dare you not announce that, Senator Saravia? Oh my goodness. That is amazing. Congrats. That is so awesome. You know, I would have been there if I was not stuck in Zoom interviews all darn Saturday. But that's amazing. Congrats. Definitely representing AS well. Are there any further announcements before I make mine? Alrighty, just a reminder, I don't like sharing this reminder, but also it's very fun. Patrick's retirement party is on March 1st, which is actually this Friday, right here in the Grand Salon at 1 PM. Please stop on by to celebrate Patrick. I'm trying to think about it, but it's gonna be really, really special and definitely very, very deserving of it. And if this ends up being for real your last in-person Senate meeting, this is crazy. Thank you so much for everything. We'll still feel your presence via Zoom or virtually, don't worry. But just thank you so much. And I have more to prepared at the Friday party, so don't worry, guys. Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to share was, no, I'm forgetting. That's okay. I'll send it in the group me once I remember. But yeah, any further announcements? All right. Why did I turn that off? If there are none, I'll turn it over to our Attorney General for the final roll call.
Vice President Anderson, Senator Bovnagry, Senator Chavez, Senator Doe, Senator Dunn, Senator Kaddish, Senator Iman Khan, Senator Awais Khan, Senator Mezabin, Senator Radionov, Senator Sarkeesian, Senator Saravia, Senator Scher, Senator Tybee, Senator Toledo Carranza, Senator Tran, Senator Olgan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Golden, and I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 11:08 a.m. Thank you.